Good to have you here, Samantha Fish.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome in Amsterdam.
Yes.
First of all, I was wanting to know, you started actually on drums, but why did you switch to guitars?
Because guitars are rad. They're totally cool. And when I was a kid, I think I wanted, there's just something really gutsy about, ripping a guitar solo and fronting a band, and I was really shy, and I kind of worked my way up to that, I wanted to be that. I wanted to go up on stage and rip a cool solo, and I just really fell in love with the guitar. I mean, I had family members who played, I had friends that were players, and it just seemed like something I could write and sing and just find my personality within.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember your very first guitar?
The thing is, all my guitars were somebody else's, and until it was the right time to get one. I was borrowing a lot of guitars and learning how to play on my dad's guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine ended up being this pink custom Fender Strat, which I never ever played live. But my first official gigging guitar, oh gosh, what was it? It was like a Les Paul Studio.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine had left it at a bar somewhere, and I went to go pick it up
Really?
for them, and then he just sold it to me, so it ended up being my cool gig guitar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
lucked out. I lucked out.
All right, we'll talk about your own guitars a little later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to know, how did you learn to play the guitar? Did you play along with your favorite records, or did you have a teacher?
Yeah, I kind of self-taught. I mean, I had little things shown to me here and there along the way, this is how, the caged method and all the circle of fists and all the theoretical stuff that kind of this is how it all makes sense, But really, I started just picking things out and finding stuff out by ear, and then I get little tidbits over time, and that would kind of make sense, and you just kind of build from there.
Mm-hmm. Can you name a few of the records you really liked when you were younger?
Oh man, I had terrible taste in music.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I was really into guitar players. The good part of my taste was I was into classic rock and stuff. I was really into Mike Campbell from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Mm-hmm.
I was always trying to figure out those riffs because they're so iconic and so cool, and in a lot of ways really clean. And then, of course, Keith Richards, I was always trying to pick apart his riffs. Sticky Fingers was one of my favorite records. And I always wanted to do Can't You Hear Me Knockin' Live, but you have to have a guitar that's tuned down, and preferably two guitar players, I think, to make that one really pop. But there was I'd say that was one of my favorites. But then I really got into blues, too. And I found artists like Freddie King.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Of course.
Killer. But I got into Hubert Sumlin and all the cool Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf type stuff, and then I started getting into Delta blues guitar players like Skip James and Charlie Patton, and that sort of introduced me to the North Mississippi style of music, and I found Junior Kimbrough and R.L. Burnside, and I loved that. I think Ass Pocket Full of Whiskey was one of my first really killer blues records. There's no recreating that, though. That's just that's personality and swagger that you just got to be RL to pull all that off. Yeah.
Okay, and you have learned yourself quite some techniques, also by covering those songs or playing along or listening, but also by a lot of learning yourself, you said. Is there anything at this moment that you are practicing more than the others, some techniques?
What am I practicing right now? Really, I find a lot of stuff on stage. I really got into this picking method, and one of my friends, he produced Wild Heart and Belle of the West. Luther Dickinson's one of my favorite guitar players, but he does a lot of this hybrid picking in a way where he kind of keeps a drone going with his thumb, and then he does all this cool, melodic stuff with his up high with,
Mm-hmm.
the rest of his fingers. I kind of have a hybrid method I do where I kind of go back and forth between my thumb and pick, but I still use these three guys to pick out different arpeggiated chords and stuff. But, just getting that thumb active, that was a real challenge. So a lot of my practicing, it's just trying to get that dexterity and you know, that fluid nature with your thumb, because that can be kind of difficult at first. So.
But do you use a pick though?
I do.
For the
yeah.
rest, yeah. Right?
Yeah, no, I use a pick. I kind of like, I use it and then I do some kind of magic trick. I guess it goes away, and then I use my thumb, and then I pull it back out. People ask me all the time, where do you put it? I'm like, I don't even know where I tuck it. I tuck it somewhere in my hand, and then I somehow magically pull it back out. It's just something I'm used to, you know. Everybody's hands are different. I think you find these little tricks that are comfortable for you, that fit your hands and fit your guitar style playing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Next subject is your guitars I want to talk about. You brought along the Gibson, the SG.
Yeah.
What can you tell about this specific guitar?
Well, I got this right before Chills and Fever came out a couple years ago. I really wanted to revamp my arsenal, and I'd always wanted an SG because I loved Angus Young, and Derek Trucks really makes his scream pretty good. So, I mean, honestly, this was one of the first just brand new guitars that I bought, kind of like right off a website. They shipped it to me, and I picked it up. I played it. It played great, like right out of the box. I mean, it's a Gibson, so it's hard to go wrong. But I mean, it's just a standard Gibson. A Gibson SG, Arctic White, standard pickups. I'm really not the best techie person to ask about all of that. I know I'm talking to a guitar magazine, but you know, I just kind of kept it standard. It felt really good, you know. So I connected with this one. It's sort of hard to have that experience. I'm pretty particular about my guitars, and so to luck out and just pull it out of a box and be like, let's go do a show with this one, was pretty special.
Yeah, it is. But you also favor the white guitars, right? Because you also have a white Fender Jaguar.
I do, yeah. You know, I kind of started. Yeah, I don't know why. They look great always. They always look really great in pictures, and I think it's just such a classic color. And I have another black guitar too. I kind of try to keep it monochromatic, you know, black or white. That helps me with my wardrobe too.
Exactly.
I don't like clash with my guitars ever. No, but I don't know. It's such a classic color, and the Jag looks great, and the white too. Mm-hmm. I really want to get a silver sparkle this year. I'm looking for something, and that'll match whatever I wear too.
Okay, and the best thing might be even that you have a signature guitar.
I do.
The Delaney.
Yes, Delaney has been working with, you know. He's been providing me guitars for years. I love that. It's a
How cool is that to have your own guitar? Isn't that a dream for every player?
So. Yeah, of course. And it's really unique too. It's like it's the Delaney Fishicaster, but it's kind of like a semi-hollow Telecaster thin line. Mm-hmm. But the cutaway instead of the F hole is like a fish. Mm-hmm. You know. Yeah. But that's a beautiful guitar. It's swamp ash, rosewood fretboard. It's got some killer humbucker pickups in there. I think they were Malfitanos is what we ended up going with. I tried out a few different setups with that, but that thing screams. Yeah. And he made me another Delaney that it kind of became my primary Delaney. And it's the 512. It's the hollow body you'll see tonight, but it's kind of like a 339, you know, a little smaller body than like a 330, 335. But yeah, I mean, that one's... It's got a nice round tone. It's really, it's different. It's different. All the guitars have like something different sonically to, you know, contribute. And so, I mean, everything I have is really different and diverse from, you know, something else in the.
So there's not a main guitar you have, or is this?
I've kind of been playing this a lot, just because, like I said, it fit really well. It like fit the music that we were doing with Chills and Fever, and then I think I just got attached to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And there's also a cigar box, I think, which is quite popular amongst the crowd.
People really like that one, and it's on its last legs. I know that. Stogie Box Blues was the company that I bought it from, and it's pretty cool. I mean, they're all so unique and have their own personality. And I've had so many wonderful builders and fans give them to me over the years, and I just connected so much with the first one I ever got. Mm-hmm. I haven't been able to like. You know, put that one on the sideline, but it is falling apart. Yeah. I've really gotten some mileage out of it.
And you use it for slide guitar, right?
Yeah, and I can do some picking on it. It does have frets. It's just, you know, it's not like I mean, I could pick stuff out. It's not really a chord type instrument, though. I tune it to an open G and just figure out the rest from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other thing, amps and effects, of course, necessary for almost every guitar player.
Yeah.
What amps do you use actually these days?
My home rig is it's a Category 5, which is a custom build out of Texas, and it's pretty great. I mean, a lot of mine are modeled after like Fenders, just like they're souped up in a way. It's all point-to-point wiring, kind of like a vintage style of putting together amps, and I'm a tube snob, so I only do tubes. But I kind of have a few different rigs I sort of cycle through, but mostly Category 5s. When I go on the road and we do a fly date, I'll use, if I'm using backline, I generally like to stick to like a Fender Super Reverb. This tour I'm using a Deluxe, which those are really nice too. Just, something versatile you can use in a bunch of different spaces. It can go from a festival to a club. You need I need stuff that I can turn down to a lower volume if I need to and really still get my tone out of it. It's a frustration with some of the bigger amps, like a Twin. I can't. You can't even hardly get those to cooperate on a fest, let alone in a little spot. So.
And guitar effects pedals.
Yeah.
Do you think they are necessary for your style, and which ones are really necessary? I've
gone through phases with my pedals. I've gone through years of not having pedals at all and just going straight from a guitar into an amp, just because I really wanted to make sure that when I first started playing guitar, I kind of felt like I was using pedals and effects as like a crutch rather than as effects. I was getting my tone out of them instead of out of my hands. And so I did away with them for probably 3 years. It was a long time. But, I mean, honestly, things broke less often, which was kind of cool. And my hands got to a point where I could kind of pull different things out that, you get stronger. You get like a little, I don't know, it just helps you, I think. I think it helps to mix it up. No matter what you're doing. If you're constantly changing, you have to evolve and adapt to a new situation. But, I started adding pedals back in later on because I was like, oh, it would be cool to have like an octave, and kind of get this cool thing going here. And I added a fuzz in, which I need that now.
What kind of fuzz?
It's a JHS mini foot fuzz. I just liked it because it was like this big. It's kind of easy to put on a board. My favorite pedal, though, for like... it's really just overdrive, but it's the Analog Man King of Tone. I have an old school one that a friend of mine gave me, and it's a beaut. I like it. I mean, I was actually going online to see if I wanted to get a replacement for it just to have them back on hand, but those are really expensive. Like, they're really nice pedals. I'm like, oh my god, that was a very nice gift. But that's my favorite pedal that I have on my board. That I think if I had to take everything off, I would keep that. But I have a super shifter for dive bombs and fun effecty type stuff, and a delay, which I use quite a bit now, and a volume pedal on my board, just so I can kind of like mimic a pedal steel if I want to. That's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
I also heard that you use delay sometimes as like a distortion pedal or something like that, or maybe as a
No, I mean. Actually, delay was the first thing I added back onto my board when I got a pedal board, and that was right after the Wild Heart recording session, because I was talking to Luther about, I don't want to play with pedals. He goes, you don't need to get a gain pedal. He goes, if you get like a delay pedal and just put like the smallest amount of tail on your on your solos, it kind of makes this distortion. It's not distortion. It kind of makes the effect of like sustain. Which is cool. So I started messing with that a little bit, just a tiny amount of delay, and then of course, you know how pedals are. Once you get one, it's like the madness begins, and you've got a giant board that you carry around with you. And
do you suffer from the gear acquisition syndrome, as they say, or known as gas?
I think I do. Probably not as bad as a lot of folks, but my thing is I get into a habit where I find something that I really like. And then it's really hard for me to try something else. Even if like somebody's telling me, no, this is way better. I'm like, no, I found my thing. I don't want to mess with my thing. But yeah, I mean, I've got a house full of stuff I'm never going to use again, but I'm not going to get rid of it either. Like, that's another problem, is you start hoarding gear. Mm-hmm. But that's a good problem to have, I guess. I mean, geez.
Mm-hmm. What environment do you like the best? Is it the stage or the studio?
Oh, well, I think the grass is always greener when you're like constantly on the road touring. You kind of romanticize the studio a little bit more. I mean, I love the studio because you get to be creative. But I think if I did that all the time, like a 9-to-5 job, it wouldn't be as special. I love going and playing for people. You know, there's nothing like the energy of a live crowd. There's nothing in the world that beats it. And also you get to travel and see all these incredible places. That's pretty special. I don't know, I'm 50-50 on it. I really enjoy both. I think the studio stresses me out, the preparation for it. But then when I get in there, I feel really comfortable because, you know, you kind of know what you're doing and you start figuring out the rhythm of what to expect. There is something really fun about seeing the creative process from the bottom all the way to the top, the finish line, basically. Mm-hmm. I started producing records last year, and it was really cool to just kind of come in and help facilitate it and help somebody else get their vision across. Mm-hmm. I do love the studio. I do.
Talking about the studio and your own album, because there is a new album coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's due out August 30th.
I think they pushed it back to September just recently. Yeah, just like a couple weeks. But yeah, they're a record with Rounder Records. It's called Kill or Be Kind. Looking like a September release. And yeah, they just did 2 singles. They put 2 singles out a couple weeks ago, and the reception seems to be good. I've never done singles before, so that's kind of cool. Just to sort of feel out how the fans feel about it, give them something to kind of push the excitement forward. And you know, there's nothing like putting out a record because now I get to go and revamp the show and figure out like what I want to change and how to make it like an experience. I don't like playing the same show when I come back to a city. You know, I want to do something different and special and, you know, make it worthwhile for people to get out of their houses and come see us. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And the singles, they are called Watch It Die and Love Letters.
Yeah.
I think you should mention them.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And maybe to round up the interview, do you have like a lesson to give to the fellow guitarist?
Man, that's always a tough question because there's so many things you can do. You know, for me, I think the key to making myself happy as a player and doing the most to affect people is you just have to find your own voice. I mean, it's really great to be able to go and learn all the cool licks and learn everything, but you want to have something that is unique to you, you know, say something with your playing. So, you know, just don't get too far away from the heart of what we're doing, you know. I mean, it is music, you know. It's like don't get too far down the rabbit hole that you're not putting yourself into it, you know what I mean? But I think, and I also talk to people about theory tune. It's actually probably terrible advice because I've had people tell me that like the way that I play is not the physical correct way, classical, or you know my form is garbage, basically. But you know, my hands are a certain size for a reason, and I play the way that's most comfortable. I think you got to find what's comfortable for you when you're playing because it'll cause problems down the road if you ignore what's comfortable. I mean, that's just it. I think it's really just follow your own instincts on it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and for your advice and all the information.
Thanks.
And enjoy the gig tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.